Before we begin, let's establish the criteria that shaped this explosive ranking. Each U.S. air attack is judged on three key variables. First, strategic impact, which evaluates how much the strike influenced military and political outcomes. Second, destructive power, measuring the scale of physical devastation. And third, historical legacy, examining how deeply the attack shaped global memory and debate. Each variable receives between 1 and 3 stars, and the final total determines the ranking with no ties allowed. Now prepare yourself, because this is not just history. This is the story of fire unleashed from the skies, of cities turned into infernos, of nations forever changed. These are the top 5 U.S. air attacks that shook the world. Let's begin at number 5 with the dramatic U.S. bombing of Tripoli in 1986. Known as Operation El Dorado Canyon, this mission was launched as retaliation against Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi, accused of sponsoring terrorism, including the deadly bombing of a Berlin nightclub that killed American soldiers. On the night of April 15th, more than 100 U.S. aircraft took to the skies. F-111 bombers flew from bases in England, covering over 6,400 kilometers with the aid of mid-air refueling, one of the longest and riskiest missions ever attempted at that time. Targets included military barracks, air defense systems, and Gaddafi's own residence, which was hit by several bombs. Although Gaddafi survived, members of his family were injured, and international outrage exploded the next morning. The attack's strategic impact was noticeable, forcing Libya to reduce open support for terrorist groups, but not decisive enough to change Gaddafi's regime, so it earns 2 stars. Its destructive power, while deadly, was limited compared to later bombings, just 1 star, and its historical legacy as one of the first highly publicized U.S. counter-terrorism strikes secures 2 stars. With a total of 5 stars, Tripoli sits at the bottom of our ranking. But it sent a chilling message. The United States was willing to cross oceans and unleash fire on any nation that challenged it. But little did the world know, this was just a prelude to much larger storms. Coming in at number 4 is the relentless bombing of Baghdad during Operation Desert Storm in 1991. When Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, the U.S.-led coalition prepared an air campaign that would set new records in modern warfare. Beginning on January 17th, waves of aircraft filled the skies over Iraq, launching more than 100,000 sorties over 6 weeks. Baghdad became a theater of shock as cruise missiles struck military bases, power plants, and communication hubs. The world watched live on CNN as anti-aircraft tracers filled the night, and massive explosions turned the skyline into a burning silhouette. For the first time, millions of viewers could witness war unfolding in real time, forever changing the relationship between media and conflict. The strategic impact was huge, crippling Iraq's command and control centers and paving the way for the ground offensive, earning 2 stars. The destructive power, with bridges, bunkers, and weapons depots reduced to rubble, also deserves 2 stars. And the historical legacy, as the first high-tech war broadcast to the world, earns 2 stars. With a sum of 6 stars, Desert Storm's air campaign stands firm at number 4. But if you think Baghdad was terrifying, wait until you hear about the storms that followed years later. At number 3, we find the shock and awe campaign that opened the 2003 U.S. invasion of Iraq. This operation was carefully designed not just to destroy Saddam Hussein's regime, but to overwhelm it psychologically with a display of unstoppable firepower. On the night of March 19th, the skies above Baghdad erupted as nearly 1,700 sorties and over 750 cruise missiles rained down in just 48 hours. Targets included government palaces, Republican Guard divisions, and critical communication centers. The goal was to paralyze the regime before ground troops even crossed the border. Television images of the city lit by hundreds of simultaneous explosions became the defining image of the war. Within weeks, the Iraqi government collapsed, Saddam was on the run, and American troops were marching through Baghdad. The strategic impact of this lightning assault earns 3 stars as it toppled a regime in record time. The destructive power, though not as citywide as World War II raids, still left neighborhoods in ruins, deserving 2 stars. And the historical legacy, tied to the controversial hunt for weapons of mass destruction and the long insurgency that followed, secures 2 stars. With 7 stars in total, Shock and Awe takes 3rd place. And before we reveal the last 2, take a moment to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This support helps us bring you even more gripping journeys into the most dramatic moments of history. Number 2 takes us back to World War II and the terrifying firebombing of Tokyo in March 1945. Long before Hiroshima, the United States tested the limits of destruction, with incendiary raids designed to burn Japan's cities to the ground. On the night of March 9th, nearly 300 B-29 Superfortress bombers dropped over 1,600 tons of incendiary bombs across Tokyo. The result was a man-made firestorm that consumed entire neighborhoods. With homes largely built from wood and paper, the flames spread uncontrollably, reaching temperatures so intense that rivers boiled, people suffocated, and city blocks vanished in minutes. By dawn, over 16 square miles of Tokyo had been reduced to ashes, and an estimated 100,000 civilians were dead, making it the single deadliest air raid in history. The strategic impact was colossal, crippling Japanese industry, earning 2 stars. The destructive power was beyond anything seen before. 3 stars without question. And its historical legacy as both a military success and a humanitarian tragedy secures 3 stars. With 8 stars in total, the firebombing of Tokyo claims 2nd place. But if this didn't reach number 1, then you already know what's coming finally at number 1. The most infamous U.S. air attack of all time. The atomic bombing of Hiroshima on August 6, 1945. This was not just another strike. It was the dawn of a new era. A single B-29 bomber, the Enola Gay, carried a weapon unlike anything the world had ever seen. Little Boy, a uranium-based atomic bomb with the explosive yield of about 15,000 tons of TNT. At precisely 8:15 in the morning, it was released over the city. In an instant, Hiroshima was consumed by a blinding flash and a monstrous shockwave that flattened everything within 2 kilometers. Over 70,000 people died instantly, and by the end of 1945, the death toll had risen to more than 140,000 due to radiation and injuries. The city was unrecognizable, its skyline replaced by a vast field of ruins and shadows etched into stone where people had once stood. The strategic impact was overwhelming, forcing Japan to the brink of surrender. 3 stars. The destructive power was unmatched. 3 stars. And the historical legacy as the first use of nuclear weapons in war and the beginning of the atomic age secures 3 stars. With a perfect score of 9 stars, Hiroshima takes the number 1 spot. A single moment that ended one war but forever changed the course of human history. So there you have it. From targeted strikes in the Cold War to the overwhelming firestorms of World War II, and from televised wars in the Middle East to the atomic shadows over Japan. Each of these attacks tells a story not just of military strategy, but of human cost and moral debate. They show us the terrifying reach of air power and the weight of the decisions that unleash it. As we reflect on these moments, one truth becomes clear. Air attacks are not just about destroying targets, they are about shaping history itself. And the echoes of these explosions still resonate across the world today.